everybody. What a weekend! I have had the best time of my life for the last 6 hours. I was pleased to be one of the presenters of the Dignified Learning Project's Praxis in Education, where we went deep and long. And we talked about what we're doing here and how it is scalable and replicable to educational formats, as well as pastoral formats, as well as counseling formats, to be able to bring the message of Lace on Race and our method and our praxis was such a treat. They were an amazing audience. They asked such good questions. And so I want to give a shout out to Charlene, executive director of the Dignified Learning Projects, and her interns, who put together a terrific conference where people were engaged. And I really do believe that lives were changed. And I love doing this stuff. So we have talked about a lot of doing Lace on Race lives. We've been talking about that since right before COVID, and then COVID happened, and hey, that's not feasible anymore. But things are slowly opening back up, and it would be a treat to be able to go hither and yon with my brand new luggage ready to roll. Finally, I can put some stuff into it and we can come to you and give the message and interact and love on each other and leave changed. While we are waiting for the country to open up, we are going to be starting to do Lace on Race Lives. The recording for the Dignified Learning Project conference, Praxis in Education, will be available sometime either tonight or in the next few days. We are going to post it up so you can get a taste of how we present, what we present. Some of it is going to be stuff that a lot of seasoned people already know. Kind candor, five tenets, lean in. Some of it's going to be new, though, because it's one thing to talk about our general principles. It's another thing entirely to talk about how that plays out in real world situation with real world educators and potential educators, real world counselors and therapists and potential therapists, real world medical professionals, real world office. How do we take the principles and knowledge that we have here and generalize it out? And that's what we're talking about. We can talk about Hesed. We can talk about winning strategies and losing strategies from now until the cows come home, right? But if we do not have the tools and the skills, and more importantly, the courage, along with the capacity, agency, and volition to be able to do this work well, then it's all for naught. So we are going to start doing Lace on Race lives on Zoom. It's exciting. Our first one is going to be a Lace on Race Ask Me Anything, which means you really can. You can ask me anything, and I'll answer anything. It's kind of exciting. It's a little scary, but if I'm going to talk about courage, I need to mean it, right? So we're going to be doing those. But in the meantime, check out the Dignified Learning Project conference, which again, when it's posted up, Charlene will let me know, and I will post up immediately. We also have the slides available. Out of the 20 slides or so Melissa and I put together, we only used about 6 or 7 of them, but you know how greedy I am and what a ham I am. I want to use all the slides. So we're going to put the slides into a presentation just for us. We're also going to share it with DLP in case they want to use it. But we're going to use all 20 slides. So you're going to be able to see kind of the appetizer, um, as I think Vicky or Rhonda called it, because they saw the presentation. But then you get to have the full course meal. We'll be talking about it at the takeout window, but we're going to be doing deeper talk in the bistro, and it's also going to be one of the components for Chef's Table. It's going to be one of the required elements for being able to be seated in Chef's Table. Moving on, speaking of Chef's Table, this is the month I'm going to be conducting interviews for those of you who have applied to Chef's Table, and I cannot wait. I don't want you to be intimidated by the idea of having to sit down and do a video interview with me. It's going to be easy. It's me. You already know me. If you're applying for Chef's Table, I already know you. So it's going to be really, 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 hopefully fun and engaging. A time to get to know each other better. There will be no, you cannot join Chef's Table. It might be a not yet. It might be a, Can I walk with you a little bit more? But it's never going to be a no because I want as many around my flat and round table as I possibly can get. So, my default is going to be yes, a full throated yes. But first, you got to be in the bistro to be able to get into Chef's Table. So, if you have not yet registered for the bistro, I invite you to do so. It's easy. You don't have to, and you are not going to have virtual coffee with me. You do have to provide your real name and a real picture of your mug because we're creating community and I can't do it with a fake picture and with an alias, I love Starbucks 1982. I need more than that. And this is going to be the time that I'm going to take to give you an immense thank you. What a couple of months. What a ride. Um, we're at the beginning of the month, but I wanted to do this on the 31st so I could thank you at the end of the month because something really amazing happened at the end of the month. And you guys should know about it, and you guys should know how warm my heart feels because of it and the reasons why my heart is feeling so warm. And it's not because I need to change out my high blood pressure medication. No, this is really good. It's good. It's good stuff, right? In February, when all the Michigas started, we did indeed not only lose a few eyeballs, not many, but we did. What we lost was revenue. This was the first month, February was the first month we had to dip into reserves to pay my salary. And that was incredibly concerning. It was concerning for a lot of reasons. For one thing, this is also going to be the month when I am probably going to apply to become the permanent director of the Lace on Race Center for Racial Equity. Right now, I'm interim director. I'm auditioning to all of you on the hiring committee. You're so pretty. I've always liked you. That's my shameless plug. Yeah. No, seriously. Right now, I am interim director, and I would hope that the odds are better than even that I will be at least invited to sit for an interview for permanent director of the Lace Race Center for Racial Equity. I mean, it's my mug. But we made it on purpose, and I want you to see how the sausage is made on this. On purpose, and this was my input mostly. I didn't want it to be a slam dunk. Sometimes the founder of a space or founder of an organization is not the person to take it to the next level. It should not be a fait accompli. The interview should not be pro forma and the decision already sealed. If there is someone who can lead this space better than I can, my job, my role, my praxis demands that I step aside and cede space. My Western star is the health and the sustainability and the longevity of this organization. And if I'm not the right person to lead it, I need to step aside. I think I might be the right person. So I am going to put in my application. But the whole idea of it is that we stick around for 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, with or without my mug. So that's exciting. One of the things that I am going to be doing during that interview is talking about my goals and my visions and metrics and all that fun stuff for the next year, 5 years, 10 years. And one of the realities was in February, we did lose literally over half our revenue. And so I was going to be talking about to that hiring committee about this new reality and the idea that maybe we are going to have to scale back a little bit. Maybe we are going to have to make some hard decisions. And now let's look at what I thought was going to be a 1 year, 5 year, 10 year um, vision turning into something new and different and frankly, smaller. I don't have to do that. I am still going to give two different scenarios to the hiring committee. My best case scenario over here, which is what I had before January 31st. And then a smaller vision that reflected what happened in February. But let's talk about March. We were only about $600 short of meeting our very basic budget, which means that we did not have to dip into reserve, which means that we were able to keep our promises to our partners, which means that our longevity is assured. That is such a big deal. And I'm truly hoping that we are able to continue this in April and May and June and July and going forward, because the vision that I have does rest upon not cannibalizing the endowment, but to be able to, like KPBS and other public radio stations and other spaces and individuals that depend on this crappy but necessary model, that we are going to be able to meet our day to day expenses from this so that we are able to be good stewards of that endowment. But let me also say, one of the things that March did, well, I had to clean out my refrigerator, um, and just basically throw out stuff. Some of that stuff had been in there for years. You'd be amazed. I was going to, it's like, oh my gosh, best used by March 2017. What? That was before I started Lace on Race. So right now there is absolutely nothing in my freezer. I'm going to be restocking it with good help. Um, for my physical therapist who is listening right now, with good, healthy things, not at all anything bad. Well, March was kind of a clearing out for me too. You know, when you are in crisis, there's two things you can do, right? You can sort of fold under that crisis, or you can see it as an opportunity. And I took it as an opportunity to do some interior cleaning of my own. And that included fear from 2017. You know, just like those chicken breasts, they were time to go. And also fear from 2 months ago. Indecision, questioning about my method and my mission. I believe in it. But when you've got a bunch of people calling you a cult leader and saying that you're doing things all differently and it's all wrong, you start doubting your calling. I threw that out too. And right when then I'm going to go to Valley Farms in Spring Valley, which is a great local grocer. If you're in San Diego, use them. And I'm going to get all healthy stuff. And I'm going to stock my interior pantry and my interior freezer and refrigerator with all good and healthy stuff. Stuff we're going to be talking about. Stuff like courage, stuff like resiliency, stuff like standing up, suiting up, standing up, showing up so that we can serve up. Oh, that refrigerator is going to have nothing but good stuff to serve you. And my interior pantry is going to be serving you good things too. That you all stepped up and got us this close to making budget after February, which was a debacle, which was a train wreck, says a lot about you all, says a lot about the sustainability and longevity and legitimacy and validity of the organization and the community that we are forging. And it gives me such affirmation and galvanizing. And it's like, I'm on the right track. I don't have to do a whole lot of moving things around. We got this. We got this. This is terrific. One of the things that I was worried about having to sit down with that hiring committee, who are all so very pretty and nice, and I love them all. Shameless plug number two is that to have to do um, that second projection, heave a deep sigh and say, well, if we're lucky, it might take us 6 months to a year to get back. And in the meantime, here are some things we can't do anymore. I don't have to say that to them. And that is such a big deal and such an amazing thing. And I'm so grateful because it means I can continue to think big. But I'm also not afraid. And so far as I don't want to cannibalize the endowment, I'm not afraid of it. I don't think of it as cannibalization. The Sonus family, now that they've been outed, the Sonus family made it very clear to me when they gave it to me as unrestricted funds that all they care about is North Star and Western Star. North Star lessening and mitigating the harm endured by Black and brown people, perpetuated by white people and white supremacy. We're doing that. We got it covered. And now the Western Star, the sustainability, longevity, and viability of Lace on Race Center for Racial Equity. Well, having my mug here is kind of part of the Western Star. So if we have to, we'll use it. I don't want to have to. And I need to be really honest with you. You don't want me to either. I think about scholarships and fellowships. We just did the DLP conference, and I'm sitting here with out of 20 plus slides, I only used 6 or 7. I could do an entire conference on the slides that we should be doing stuff. This stuff should be out there far and wide. I should be pulling other voices in and compensating them fairly, year after year after year. That's what the endowment is meant for, spreading the message of Lace on Race. And we want to do that. So tomorrow, I'm going to give you an ask. And we're going to start sponsoring it because one of the things is that's still true. If you haven't read the guidelines, oh, yeah, we're going to do another. You need to do the guidelines and pin posts video because we got some attrition, but we also got some new people. And you guys need to kind of step it up on the praxis a little bit. Even for the people who stayed, there has been some lack of discipline, and I'm going to hit that. But one of the things is that in the guidelines, we state it explicitly. We are suppressed by Facebook a lot. I am the biggest fan of Lace on Race. I don't see Lace on Race in my feed. So when we do asks, it's a good day when I do an ask and it gets a reach of about 200 people. There's 10,000 of you. So we're going to start sponsoring them. It will cost us money because Facebook makes us pay through the nose to do that, but we need to get as much of a reach as possible. I have resisted doing that for a number of reasons. When people see a sponsored post, it confirms their worst fears about the charlatan cult leader. Oh, she's just doing it for money. Well, of course I'm shaking you down for money. I'm going to shake you down for money, but I want as many eyeballs to see it. And so I want you to not roll your eyes at it or ignore it or be resentful about it. I cannot be afraid of your reactions because my Western Star needs to be strong. You all, for your part, need to understand the realities. Last month, we did twice as well as we did in February. That means we got a 2% response rather than a 1% response. Because in any given month, I do the ask, only about 2% of you financially engage. That's true. Here's something about February, and no one wants to think about it, but you know me, making the covert overt. Here I go. In a given month, there are anywhere between 100 and 200 people who financially contribute to Lace on Race. That means there's 9,800 of you who never do. Even with the attrition that we experienced in February, there were 9,800 people that could have made up for that easily and chose not to. So we are going to be hitting this hard. There are 10,000 of you. Why are only 200 of you supporting this space or other spaces? And let me tell you right now, if you're not supporting us, the chances are low that you're supporting other spaces and still being here because we didn't lose your eyeballs. That's true. The fact is, counterintuitively, people who do engage in Lace on Race also engage in other spaces because they understand the nature and the value and the principle of reflexive giving and spread out giving towards a North Star, towards a value and an ethos that you say you hold. So that's all that's going on. And I'm going to bring up more of that in the ask when I do it tomorrow. And I don't want you to click on it. I don't want you to click through and forget it. I don't want you to scroll and roll. I don't want you to roll your eyes, and I don't want you to be resentful or angry for me taking the risk of asking you to support this space. It's the only way it gets supported. The sustainability and health of Lace on Race is assured. That does not absolve the community of responsibility. And people hate it when I say that, and I'm going to lose people for saying it. Lace on Race should not have to apologize that a family believed in me and this organization and our mission in this community enough to decide to fund it in a significant way to ensure Western Star. That, that is what they're funding. That when I'm doddering or dead 30 years from now, that Lace on Race will survive me and the Sonas family. That's what we're talking about. And we need you to do it. I'll be talking to you all more about that later. But for now, I want to quietly do a happy dance on the coronavirus couch because March was different than February. It was still hard, but the lights stayed on. And there are enough of you who still believe in me and us and this method and this ethos and this praxis and in our collective and individual characters to want it to continue. I am greedy enough now to say there should be more than 200 people who do. The fact of the matter is that we did lose a lot. We had to dip into reserve, and we do need to make that up. So to the 100 to 200 of you who are faithful, thank you. For those of you who pay a la carte, thank you again. For those of you who never have, and that's 98% of you who are watching me right now, I'm asking you to step up. You can either wait for me to do the formal ask tomorrow or you can do it now. But the idea that we do need to build that up. I mean, in a way, you could say that Holly basically stole $6,000. It does not mean that the lights don't stay on. It does not mean that I will not wake up every day front and center North Star. Inside and outside of this space, at whatever conference I'm at whatever online space that I'm at, other than Lace on Race, any other offline spaces, in my head and in my heart, all Lace on Race all the time. But I need you guys to make it a little bit easier. I need you guys to do more than give me. I need y'all to do more than just slide into my DMs and say how much you love me. It's nice. Thank you. People keep asking me what they can do. They can do exactly what I was been asking you to do for the last 3 years. Nothing more, nothing less. Engage with rigor, which means if you haven't done the guidelines on the pin post, do those. Register for the Lace on Race Cafe and then engage there too. Get your muscles shored up enough and your praxis strong enough that you can apply to sit at the chef's table and mentor and be mentored in a bigger, better way. Those are the ways that you can help me. Thank you for the DMs. Thank you for the hearts and flowers and the hallmark moments, but that is not what's going to keep Lace on Race here in the long haul, and it's not going to help your praxis one little bit. Telling me on the down low how much you appreciate me and Lace on Race is not for me and it's not for the community. And I've gotten a lot of that in the last month. And again, thank you. But one of the things I teach you is that it's not about hearts and flowers. It's about Hesed. Hesed is long lasting and reliable and muscular and resilient, not a Hallmark card or a cheap bouquet of carnations in sight. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Thank you for wanting to support me, but I've already told you how. It's the same. Holly did her damage on the weekend of February 8th. Somewhere between February 5th and February 8th is when it all hit the fan. The same thing that you needed to do on February 1st is what you need to do on April 3rd. Lessen and mitigate the harm endured by Black and brown people, perpetuated by white people and white supremacy by any means necessary. I added the by any means necessary, but it's still true. The recipe is still extant. That never changed. Commitment and praxis waned and faltered and stumbled, but the recipe never changed. So let's all get back in the kitchen and start whipping up fresh, good, healthy, nourishing food for ourselves, for each other, and for the world. Holly not only bailed out of the car going 70 miles an hour up the 15, she tried to light the car on fire. So there's still some smoke damage in the interior, but the car still moves. Let's keep driving. Let's keep walking. I love you so much.